You don't fall off because you lack discipline. You fall off because your system expects you to perform at your best every single day. And that's not how real life works. Most people don't struggle with starting, they struggle with staying on track after something breaks the pattern. They begin strong, they feel focused, they commit to a routine. Then something small happens, a bad night of sleep, a stressful day, an unexpected responsibility, and suddenly the entire system collapses. Not slowly, instantly. Most systems don't fail gradually. They collapse the moment something unexpected happens. One disruption is enough to break the entire structure. The real issue is inconsistency. The real issue is that most systems are built for ideal condition. They assume you'll have the energy, they assume you'll have the time, the motivation, but your real life doesn't follow a clear structure. Some days are sharp, some days are chaotic, and some days are just survival. And here's the problem: your system does not adjust. It demands the same output no matter what state you're in. High energy day, same expectation. Low energy day, same expectation. Mentally drained, same expectation. That mismatch is where everything breaks. Because consistency doesn't fall all at once. It fails the moment the system asks for more than you can give and gives you no alternative. Your system looks clean when you design it. Everything fits, everything makes sense. But real life doesn't follow that structure. And that's where the gap starts. And here's where things start compounding. One interruption turns into two, two turns into a delay. That delay turns into avoidance. And before you realize it, something small has turned into something heavy. Not because the task, but because the distance from it grew. That's the part most people don't notice. It doesn't break all at once. It builds slowly in the background. Small delays turn into distance, and that distance turns into resistance. After that, something else happens. You don't just fall behind, you start turning on yourself. You start thinking, why did I stop? What's wrong with me? Why can't I just stay consistent? And that internal criticism builds for us. Negativity compounds. And for some people, it just don't stop at frustration. It turns into a mental exhaustion, low energy, loss of motivation. It's not just about the task anymore. Now, you don't even have the energy to return. At this point, it's no longer about the task, it's about how it feels to come back. And that feeling becomes heavier each time you delay, until avoiding it feels easier than facing it. So, instead of asking, how do I stay consistent? Ask something more useful. Can this system survive a bad day? Because that's the real test. Not intensity, not perfection, but durability. If you're enjoying the video so far, let me quickly introduce myself. Hi, my name is Afnan. I'm from a computer science background and I spend a lot of time thinking about systems, how they work and how they actually produce results. I'm starting this channel to share those ideas and break them down in a simple, practical way. If that sounds interesting to you and you want to follow along the journey, consider subscribing. It really helps support the channel. Please like and subscribe. Say you decide to fix your routine, you plan everything perfectly. You wake up early, you work out, you eat clean, you focus deeply. And for a few days it works. Then one day you wake up exhausted. Now your system is asking for the same output, but you don't have the same capacity. So you skip one part and then another and then another, and suddenly it feels like everything is broken. Not because it actually failed, but because it had no flexibility. Here's what this actually looks like across a week. Day one, you're locked in. Everything flows, you hit every target. Day two, still solid. maybe slightly slower, but still on track. Day three, something shifts. You're tired, you're distracted, you're not fully there. Now the system still expects day one performance. That's where the tension starts. You hesitate, you delay, you cut the corner. Day four, you're already behind. Now there is actual real pressure on you. And that pressure doesn't create consistency, it creates avoidance. You try to not do the work, you try to not think about it, you try to distract yourself and doom scroll, right? And by day five, the system feels heavy, not because it's hard, but because it feels broken in your head. Nothing changed externally. The task is still the same, but internally, it feels heavier now. And that weight makes starting harder each time. This is where things get dangerous because your brain doesn't think in percentages. It doesn't say, I did 60%, that's still progress. It says the task wasn't complete. And if it wasn't complete, it doesn't count. And if it doesn't count, you failed. And that is the trap. Because you're not measuring effort, you're measuring perfection. And perfection is fragile, it breaks instantly. So one perfect day becomes a full reset. Not because you failed, but because your system doesn't tolerate variation. So, what's the actual solution? Allow for disruption. Don't build a system that assumes perfection. Build one that accepts interruption. Never assume everything will go right because it won't. So, what actually works? You don't need a stricter system. You need a more forgiving one, a system with layers. One strong day, full version, on a normal day, reduced version, and on a bad day, you use the minimum version. The goal is not perfection, the goal is continuity. Your system should not be rigid. It should be adaptable and flexible. It should be able to continue even when things don't go as planned. Because disruption will happen, interruption will happen, and your system cannot absorb this. It will collapse every time. Let's say your goal is to work out. A rigid system says 1 hour, no excuses. A functional system says stay connected to the habit even if the intensity drops. So on a bad day, still show up in a smaller way. Because keeping the system alive is more important than doing it perfectly. Consistency isn't about maintaining perfect performance. It's about maintaining connection even though disruption happens. Because once that connection breaks, coming back becomes the hardest part. And this is the part your system needs to solve. Not how to perform perfectly, but how to return without resistance. Listen, if you keep falling off, don't assume you lack discipline. Look at the system you built. Did you design it for real life or for perfect condition? Because perfect conditions don't exist. But disruption always will exist. And the people who actually move forward are not the ones who avoid disruption. They're the ones who build systems that survives it.